Hi guys, Andreas Sonic Mainliner with another video. It's a no metal edition. Yay! If you like that kind of stuff. Most people don't like it, but it's fine. I was looking through the records, and first of all I got a batch I wanted to show, and then I was like, oh, I haven't shown this, I haven't shown that, I haven't shown that either. And there's a good stack there. So I thought I would just make a video about my metal acquisitions. So, without any further ado, I don't know if you can hear what's playing in the background. I'll start with these. So, back in November, I went to Greece, and whenever I go back to Greece, I always visit record shops. This time around, I wanted to go and visit some specific ones. There was a metal one that I wanted to visit. There is one that there are a couple that I definitely would visit every single time that are not specifically metal ones. But there was one called Bowels of Noise that I definitely wanted to visit, and there was another one that sort of specializes in gothy synth and whatnot, which was unfortunately closed on that day. So anyway, I got some stuff, and I also visited No Remorse, the record shop, where somebody that I knew worked there, and basically I went to buy this record. This is a reissue from their label. Sorry, No Remorse. Did I say No Remorse? Sorry, Eat Metal. No Remorse is another one. I'm growing old. Come on. Eat Metal Records, and they reissued Attacker. This is their first album. They're from the US, Battle of at Helm's Deep, and this is like traditional heavy metal, really. And I went there. I was like, oh yeah, I want to get this one. He said, yeah, you should also get this one because I think that this is better. And he's the kind of guy that knows his stuff. So I'm like, all right, okay, yeah, why not? I mean, classic kind of albums, power metal kind of thing. I think it's 1984. Let's see if there's a date here anywhere. It's mid 80s, mid 80s. Sadly no. But it's mid 80s, it's power metal, it's like traditional stuff, and I'm a sucker for this kind of thing. I mean, it's later incarnations of metal music can be like really harsh, and it can be like very heavy and very abrasive. This sort of traditional heavy metal that harkens back to Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, and that kind of sort of sound and ilk, if you like, is to me is like Sunday morning cartoons. It's like something that I enjoy thoroughly and I have fond memories of. And every time I listen to something like that, it always just I listen to the music with a sense of nostalgia. In a sense, it's me being 14 years old and playing Halloween tapes and Iron Maiden and all that stuff from back then. Before I became a thrash, before thrash came into my life, and then death metal and all that. But anyway, it's very back in the day these things were like the devil themselves. It's like, oh yeah, people our children, they will become like Manson and kill innocent people. But it's they're harmless and they're kind of fun and they're kind of it's I don't know. I think that people were more freaked out about the way that metalheads looked back in the day, and like these guys, for example. So this is another record that I bought from with that batch. So I went to buy the Attacker ones, and I said, look, I know that you do reissues and whatnot. So is there anything that you would recommend? So he recommended to me this one, which is Vault. Uh, No More Escape. I've had no idea this existed, to be honest. But yeah, it's one of those albums that I guess for the discerning metalhead are important to be reissued because there is a reason. And this is from where are these guys from? Because I had no idea. I didn't know these guys. They're from Holland. So this came out in 1981. No date. Yet again, no date. I would say, oh yeah. So there are tracks here from a single from 1983. So mid 80s again, 84 thereabouts. I don't know if you can hear it in the background. Yeah, look at these guys. Yeah, they heavy. They're they're ridiculous. Oh lord. Anyway, and he also had some other albums there. He said, "Well, all these are really good." And I was like, "You know what? I already bought quite a few, so I will buy one more, and I will just choose randomly." And randomly, I chose this one, Leader. Well, not entirely randomly. I was like, you know what? I used to buy records by the cover, and I kind of liked the epicness of this cover. This is another Dutch band, and yeah, this is again from the same era, really. And this is killer. This is really good power metal. This is really good stuff. I mean, from the batch, probably this one was the best one. This was really good. Leader, I don't know. I mean, I've never heard of these guys. I mean, these are maybe somebody does know. I don't know. I mean, Aaron, maybe you know. I have no idea if you're watching this. Maybe not. Then I went to another record shop, which is close by because there's this sort of area where you can find a lot of record shops, just sort of all together. You find there's like specialists. There's a metal one, there's like a dark wave one, there's psychedelia, there's like punk. It's really good stuff. I mean, Athens is a really good place to buy records. And so I went to Bowels of Noise, and I don't recall if I went there for something specific, but I found something that they had a lot of records I would have bought, to be honest. But I was like, yeah, well, I can find these online. It's alright, man, yeah, really good. And then I left. Didn't buy anything, left, and as I was coming back because I needed to go and get my car, I noticed they had like records outside, and they had this one. So this is Disincarnate. This is a reissue, obviously, from 1992, I think. 91, maybe 92, or something along those lines. 93. So 93. This is a record that I didn't know because in 93 I wasn't listening to heavy metal. Well, I wasn't listening to heavy metal. I wasn't going out to find out, new releases. But this is a death metal release from 93. And I think, is one of the guitarists used to play with Death. I think. anyway, he was in a well-known band from that scene, and I discovered this album like 2-3 years ago. There was a list of some kind of albums that you should listen to because they were kind of like weird and extreme and that kind of thing. And it was in the Guardian of all places, and they had like various ones. And they had this one, and this is killer death metal. This is really really good stuff, and I'm really happy that it got reissued. Unfortunately, it got reissued with two LPs. The original one is one LP, which sort of bugs me because you play 3 songs and you need to flip sides and come on, it's like But yes, yeah, I'm happy to get it because I don't think that you can find the reissue very easily these days. Yeah, so really good stuff. Another one that I definitely I wanted it, but I was like, oh yeah, what should I get? But when I got the Disincarnate one, I was like, you know what, screw this, I'm getting this, although I can find it online. This is Goat Lord, and these are demos from 1988 and 1987, and they are a death metal band, but the sound is very raw, it's very Hellhammerish and very proto. It's not polished at all, which makes it really really good. I love this one. I don't know about Goat Lord. I found them in on Spotify, just random recommendations and like, oh yeah, if people that listen to this band listen to that band, and I was like, oh, let me check this out. And it was really good. So yeah, I got this one. I don't know whether it's like renowned or like I don't know whatever in the metal world, but yeah, I like it. That's all I can say. And finally, from Bowels of Noise, I got this one, which is Immortal and Diabolical Full Mysticism. Yeah. Which is their first album, which is the rawest, basically. Unknowingly, now this is top tip for you guys. One of the risks that you run if you buy records in a foreign country or in another country for that matter, because in this case Greece is not a foreign country to me, the risk is that you might buy the album and it might have a defect. And I was well aware of that, so when I got home, because I had a badge, I bought some other records as well, not just metal. And I played all of them, apart from this one. And this was the one that had the defect. It's very unfortunate because it's very scratchy. When the music plays, it's like, it has this... And you cannot really see, I mean, it's like, it looks fine. And when the music comes on, it's fine. You don't really hear the noise. But when it's between tracks, it's very annoying. And I was like, damn it, it had to be this one. Anyway. And this is one that I could get online here as well. Very annoying, very annoying. Anyway, that's how it is. Speaking of Immortal, I got this one used, I don't know, this year anyway, at some point. This is Osmos Productions reissue. These are being reissued every quarter or something. I mean, they sell every single time. So this is one of the reissues. It's like, I don't know which version. It's black vinyl. It's non-gatefold. I think that it has come out as gatefold and has, but I don't know. I don't know how many times this has been reissued, and for good reason as well, because this is, probably their best album. The riffage is just unbelievable. With Standard Full of Time, it's like that's a good way to start an album, in my opinion. Immortal. Look at these guys. I love their second and the other albums that are like they're completely random. They're like out in the snow with like their guitar and the bass. And it's like, what are you doing? Oh Jesus. Anyway, yeah, really good stuff. I mean, as far as death metal is concerned. Uh, the album on that batch, because my understanding was so I got this from Rat Records, which is the used record shop that is very near my place, and they bought a batch of metal albums. I mean, it's like whatever they use records, they just put them on the shelves, and they got a batch of used metal albums, and I got some for a really good price. One of them was this one. The other one was this one, Savage Grace. This is their the Dominatrix EP. I still need to get their previous one. This is their second one, and Savage Grace is like. Look at that. My guess is the middle guy is the singer. Jeez, what happened to him? Anyway, and yeah, from the US, and they play power metal. And this is like good old-fashioned power metal. This is a reissue, by the way, 2008. They never reissued what's the name of the album? Something, Lion's Roar or something, I think. Or maybe this is the song, the first song. I can't remember right now. Anyway, I want that one. That one is epic. Not that this one is bad, power metal. Again, it's nothing to do with the previous two albums I showed. But yeah, it's really good, but that one is excellent, and I definitely need to get it. A bit of German thrash. This is an album that I remember seeing in record shops when I was 14 years old. Now, this was apparently released in 1987. I say 87 or 88 because the cover has the date on the art. It says 1987, so my guess is that it came out around that time. Living Death, German death metal, thrash metal. Sorry, one of those classic ones. If you're into German thrash metal, yeah, you will have come across this one. I don't know whether this is their best one. I have no idea. Was the name of the other one? I think this is their second one, maybe third. I'm not entirely sure, but I never bought it when I should have back in the day, so I got it now. I don't think that you can go wrong with these. This is a funny one because I own an original, which I bought when it came out, and I bought another copy thinking that, oh my god, this is an original, but it's not, it's a reissue. This is Entombed, and I wanted to say Left Hand Path, but no, that's the first album. This is Clandestine, and this is the version with the embossed cover, which I have exactly the same, but original, back in Greece. And I didn't realize. I was like, bloody hell, they have this for like £10. I'm getting that. And but unfortunately, no, it's a reissue. I didn't notice it. I wouldn't have bought it. But at the same time, it's one of my favorite albums from that era. This, along with what was it? Morbid Angel, Blessed Are the Sick, Nocturnus, The Key. These are some of my albums that from that era that I remember and I really really love. Napalm Death. Which one was it? Can't remember right now. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Yeah, this is a very brutal album, but it's not because it's very fast or it's not very. It has this. The sound is so rough. It's unbelievable. It's just brilliant. I love it. I love Chaos Breed, Crawl. The second side, just it's unbelievable. And the lyrics are just bizarre and Stranger Eons. What's the Stranger Eons? Yeah, I mean, there's one that is like, Jesus is praying for death, and like it's just so, it's out there, completely out there. Really good, really good, classic, really. I cannot remember if I've shown this one. I'm not entirely sure. This is Bestia Arcana, a Holocaustian, and these guys are, I think they're US. I want to say US, and they're very ritualistic black metal. Their sound is like a whirlwind. It's just so many things happening here. It's unbelievable, and just sucks you in. At least it sucks me in, to be honest. I don't know whether it will have the same effect on you, but yeah, I love it. I have their previous album as well, and it's a trip, man. It's a trip. It's really good. Yeah. Again, I don't know whether these are like the best examples of the genre or whatever the case may be, but I enjoy these albums, and that's why I have a physical copy. Otherwise, I can still stream it on Spotify and get some enjoyment out of that. Okay, so here are two albums that I got very cheaply on that record shop I was telling you about, Rat Records, and it was at the time that they had that batch of metal albums, and I had no idea about these albums. I didn't know the bands or anything. So, Aaron had shown, I think that he shown this one. So this is an original Metal Blade copy, Tyrant, Too Late to Pray. And the reason why I got this one was that I went to the only metal record shop in London. It's called the Wizard's Crypt. There's 3 record shops very close to each other. It's Cosmos Records, which has jazz and funk, and I just stroll in. I'm like, oh god, what's all this? And I leave because the things that I'm interested in are very expensive, and I'm like, nah, okay, whatever. And then I go to the Wizard's Crypt. It's like, it doesn't have anything that I want to buy. It has a lot of metal, but I don't know. They distribute different. Their distributors don't bring the stuff that I'm interested in for whatever reason. So anyway, and they had this one, which was a reissue there. And said, oh, fantastic, blah, 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 forgotten something, whatever. I was like, oh, all right, okay. Whenever I see these, I'm a little bit skeptical because, I generally, I don't know. I mean, sometimes things are overhyped. Yeah, I know. So I tried to find it on Spotify. I couldn't find it. And I saw it on Rat Records. And I bought it. And it's a Christian metal album. I had no idea. I mean, it has like revelations here, and it's all about Jesus, and all that. And it looks like pretty decent kind of metal. To be fair, it is okay, but it sort of puts me off because it's like, come on, man. I mean, God is good, whatever. You can go to church, but when you pick up a guitar, then you have to sing about Satan. Goes without saying, right? And then they had another one. This one, Heretic, and again, it's an original Metal Blade. They're not in very good shape, but I paid like very little money for it. I think this was like what, £4 or something. It is a bit. It's beat. I bought it knowingly, but you know, just out of curiosity, to be honest. And yeah, this is another Christian metal album. I'm not like enthused or anything about it. It's like it's okay, you know. It's more of an artifact kind of thing, whatever. And I also bought this one. The reason being that I am, and this is another. If I remember correctly, this is another Christian metal album. Wasted Youth, again very cheap. It's like this was like £3 or something. It was ridiculously cheap. The reason why I bought it, it was like, this reminds me of something. I think I saw it at some point being sort of advertised somewhere in the record shop back when I was like 14, 15 or whatever. And yeah, when was this released? I don't know. Doesn't have an indication. Oh. This was 1988, so yeah, probably I was around 14, 15, thereabouts. I would have seen it. And yeah, it was like, to be honest, I played it once. I don't even remember what it sounds like. But probably being a £3 record or £4 record or whatever, it's not that amazing. It's alright. It's okay. So, we haven't finished. We haven't finished. No, sir. There's a couple more I want to show. Classic new wave of British heavy metal. It's very funny because Witchfinder. Roger was showing the lost demos from Witchfinder, and he was like, "This is nothing like I expected it." I wanted to put it to. I remember him showing this one and showing that later album from these guys. He was saying, "Oh, I like this so much." I was like, and I want to find that record that Andreas was playing. I was like, I don't know. I mean, these do sound pretty different, but I didn't put that comment in. And eventually, when he actually did get that lost demos, lost tapes album, he did realize that it sounds very different. Yes, it's not that one is not heavy metal. This is heavy metal. This is pure new wave of British heavy metal, and yeah, it has Leaving Nadir. Does it have here? Yeah, Leaving Nadir. This was I was introduced to this album back in what was it, 89 or 90s or something, when Lars Ulrich put out that new wave of British heavy metal compilation, and it had Leaving Nadir here, so that's how I found out about these guys. Yeah, this is a really good album. I didn't like it at the time because it didn't sound heavy, but now that I'm older and a bit mellower, I enjoy it thoroughly. This is really, really good. However, having said that, I like this for the new wave of British heavy metalness. I prefer the lost tapes for the doominess, and the lost tapes offer a completely different experience to what the band has to offer, and I still believe that it's I would say that it's somewhat better. The lost tapes. Speaking of German thrash, that is a good segue there. These are two albums that I didn't buy at the time that I should have. Pretty much like a Living Death. And this is Infernal Overkill and Eternal Devastation. So these are absolute classic albums when it comes to German thrash. You know, Creator and Sodom and all these other bands. Exhumer, I guess. Although again, Exhumer is not one of the bands that I've got records from. I didn't have records from back in the day, but I was well aware of them. So yeah, these are the recent, I would say recent 2017. I would say yeah, High Roller reissues, high quality, really good pressings, nicely made. And yeah, and they have like a lot of stuff. Like it's very interesting because they have the inner sleeve, but the record is not in the inner sleeve. They just put the inner sleeve there, and the record is in its own sleeve. And yeah, they have a poster and everything. It's like really heavy stuff, and it's like all this paper just for one record. Not that I'm complaining or anything. They've done a really good job, and yeah, this one is colored, so it's this color. Although I would have preferred to get the clear one. I like clear records for whatever reason, and yeah, what can you say? Infernal Overkill. I mean, yeah, I remember, and I think that Aaron also made that comment. Their fourth album had that freakish cover with the thing with the eyes, and it was like, oh my god, you know, this must be like super amazing, whatever. But yeah, it's I probably need to get that one as well. Classics, what can I say? Classics, right? Speaking of classics, I've been going on for 31 minutes. That's a long time. Speaking of classics, these are the last two albums I want to show. I will start off with Uber Classic. I don't know if it's Uber Classic or not, but it is classic in its own way. High Roller gave us this lovely reissue of The Obsessed, the Lunar Tomb. And this is an album from, when was it? 91. Yeah. So Wino, Wino is on it, and it's doomy metal, I guess. I don't know. What? How can you categorize it? It's really good. It hasn't been reissued before, and I'm really happy to have a copy of this one because it's excellent. Yeah, it's excellent. Excellent album. I don't think that it sounds 1991. Let's just say that. It's. I think that it could have been an album that was recorded many years back. It would have fit much better. But for whatever reason, it came out in 91. I don't think that people in 91 were paying attention to this kind of stuff, which is unfortunate because it's a really good album. Finally, an album that has a lot of fans amongst metal fans, but I genuinely believe that it's not a metal album. It's just not. No way. Yes. Okay, yeah, 1983. This is a release, initially private press, I think. It was like a very limited, whatever the case may be. I think it was private. Ashbury. Ooh. Yeah, Ashbury. Ashbury, what's the... Endless Skies, yes. Endless Skies. Sorry about the glare. Endless Skies. So, Ashbury, Endless Skies, they are from Tucson, Arizona. I think, yeah. They're from the area anyway. And they recorded this in 1983. I don't think that it sold much. I don't think that people were paying attention. And then suddenly, for whatever reason, somebody reissued this and it was like, oh my god, and people were just flocking to get copies. They disappeared, and then High Roller picked up on the game, and I think this is on the third or fourth reissue or something along those lines, and it is heralded as heavy metal, but this is thoroughly not heavy metal, like new wave of British heavy metal sounding, although they're American, obviously. But it's thoroughly AOR. It's thoroughly AOR. It has an AOR-ish sound. It's very 70s sounding. It doesn't sound 1983. It doesn't sound heavy metal to me. It's really good album for an AOR album, but if you buy it thinking that, oh my god, this is going to be like, epic metal, yay, whatever, something. Oh, hang on, I have more. I almost forgot these. Yeah. Then no, you will be disappointed, and it's not fair. It's not fair. Yes, there's more. There is more. There is more indeed, and I almost forgot. And speaking of this, being, be disappointed if you think that is heavy metal. If you like heavy metal, and you like heavy metal that sounds like old heavy metal, then what you need to get is this, Riot City. Now, I've said that I'm listening to a lot of new wave of traditional heavy metal, and this is one of them. They're from the States, from what I understand, and this was released on No Remorse Records. No Remorse also released Eternal Champion, which is one of my favorite albums from last year, I think, or the year before that. I don't remember. I don't recall. But yeah, Riot City. This is sounding like it has a Judas Priest feel to it. It has a Judas Priest, and I mean, even the cover sort of alludes to Judas Priest. Yeah, it has a Judas Priesty kind of sound without being a complete ripoff. There's like cues that you are like, oh yeah, that sounds like Judas Priest. But it's the good parts of Judas Priest, and I like Judas Priest, so bring it on. Really good stuff. Get them while you can. I don't think that they will be around for long. And here's one that almost certainly will not be around. I think that it's gone now. It's probably gone, and it hasn't been released for a long time either. So this is a weird one. I've been going on for 37 minutes, but screw it. I've got a good internet connection now, and I can upload large videos, so I don't care. And if you're here, then you're here. You can listen to me ramble. So I have an affection for things from the 80s. I'm a very 80s kind of. I grew up musically in the 80s, so whatever is coming from that era sort of speaks to me. And although at the time, during that time, I wasn't listening to that, I have been influenced by the sound of new wave, and I really like that era, that musical era generally. I mean, heavy metal, new wave, that kind of thing is my thing. And here's an album that combines the two. It's unbelievable. I don't know how they did it, but they do. But they actually managed to do it. And there are bands that I shouldn't like. I should definitely not like. But I do, for whatever reason. I don't know. Like, for example, New Model Army. I should find them ridiculous. I remember that there was a time that I was listening to them a lot, and I still enjoy them, although I will not put them on. I mean, stream them, because the albums are in Greece now. But yeah, then it's a kind of band that shouldn't really work, but it does. Another example of a band that I shouldn't really like is I've shown this recently, I think. Although this doesn't fit the example here, because it is a band that I wouldn't like the sound at all. But there are bands that play a mix of something that shouldn't really work and I shouldn't really enjoy because it has some elements of things that I don't like, but I do. And in this case, it has two elements that I like both, but I never thought that you could combine them into something that would actually work. That's it. That I will show the record now, yeah? Okay, and it's getting dark. So, and it's a dark cover, so I don't know whether you will be able to see it. Let's see. I can do a better job by taking it out. Alright, okay. So this is Idle Hands. They are recording in the US. Their names are definitely allude to some people, some might be Spanish or something like along those lines. This is their second album. I think they made an EP. This is their first album actually. So yeah, it's like Colin Vardizan, Sebastian Silva, Brandon Hill, okay, Gabriel Franco. So it's I don't know whether they're American or whether they're like, you know, living in America. This was recorded in the US. The label is German, Eisenton D. I think that maybe it has a release in the US as well, under a different, I don't know, an American label. But yeah, this is called Idle Hands, and it's called Mana. And it combines good old-fashioned power metal, I guess, with goth. It's gothy. The voice is definitely new wave. The influences are just undeniable. The first time I heard it, it's like, bloody hell, this should not work. This should not work at all. Who would like this? I like it, but are there other people that like it? I doubt it. And it's sold out. Apparently, and it's like, this is collectible, because this is the blue vinyl version, by the way. Yeah, it's like 180 gram blue vinyl, and this is a special edition. And I don't know whether you can find it. It's sold out. Yeah, goth-infused heavy metal championed by the likes of Solitude, Cure, and the Sisters of Mercy. It rips. It's really good. It has some silly lyrics as well, like, you know, some of it is like, come on, dude. Yeah, right. I mean, whatever. But it works. It works. I've enjoyed it as much as anything I've bought recently. I mean, you know, Riot City, I really love it. But this one has been taking a lot of my time. I've been listening on repeat, especially streaming, because I've streamed it a lot because I was waiting for it to be released and actually come to get it. So yeah, these are the albums. It's a long video. It's 43 minutes. It's getting really dark, and I hope you enjoyed. Like the video if you liked it, dislike the video if you disliked it, leave a comment, subscribe to this lovely channel for more videos somewhat like this. Unsubscribe if you think it's crap and I'm a terrible person, and I will see you around on another video.